Are you designated as the executor of a probate estate, and now you're wondering what, if any, limitations of duties you may have? Hi, I'm Charlotte Volch, real estate broker, certified probate specialist and trust advisor, and expert at helping executors, administrators, and trustees with homes in probate or trust. Now today we're talking about what an executor cannot do and executor problems that might come up because of beneficiaries. Now, being named in someone's will as executor, which is the person to handle and settle up the estate matters, is really a great honor because the person that passed believes you have the ability to collect the assets, to settle the debts, to file state tax returns when necessary, and to distribute the assets and finally close the estate. So in essence, a probate executor of an estate has a host of responsibilities which range from notifying the heirs all the way up to managing the assets. But an executor's authority is not endless. There are limits of what an executor can and cannot do. The executor begins their role by communicating their position to the beneficiaries, to the financial institutions, and any known creditors. The court gives the executor the right to act on the decedent's behalf, and the executor is also responsible for managing the estate's assets. Now, the executor can liquidate any assets to pay bills of the estate, and if you've been named as executor, a couple of basic rules of thumb are that you cannot do anything that disregards the provisions that were set up in the will, and you cannot act against the interest of any of the beneficiaries. That sounds pretty straightforward. Sometimes it is, but depending on the complexity of the estate, figuring out your role, your responsibilities as an executor could be challenging. Now, an executor's job is to secure those assets of the estate and then distribute those assets according to the deceased person's wishes, which are set up in the will. Now, in some families, heirs may just descend on the decedent's home even before the funeral service. They're cherry picking heirlooms, other valuables, and a better way to handle that situation is just to secure the home and any other assets as quickly as possible, knowing that you have been assigned that responsibility. And then inform the heirs that this is the law, and also share information about the decedent's wishes with the heirs. We will get into what you can't do, but first let's make sure you're clear on what you can and sometimes must do. So as the executor of an estate, you are responsible for managing the probate process, which means you'll be interacting with the probate court, typically through your attorney, and then making all the decisions about handling the probate assets. You and your attorney will open probate with the court. You will identify the deceased person's assets. You will provide notice to all the heirs and all the interested parties, and you will manage the administration of the estate. That would include preparing, marketing, and selling the decedent's home. You will pay the decedent's debts from the estate, and you'll distribute funds or property to the heirs and eventually close the estate. So carrying out all these duties means that you will make many decisions about what happens. So as an executor, you have what's called a fiduciary duty to the beneficiaries of the estate. And what that means is you must manage the estate and care for all the assets. So you can't do anything that intentionally harms the interests of the beneficiaries, and you can't take any action to manage the estate prior to being appointed as executor by the court. And you cannot sell any of the assets for less than market value without full agreement of the beneficiaries. For instance, by offering your friends or family a discount on any of the personal property, that would be in direct opposition to your duty. You also cannot change any provisions in the will. Now that seems self-explanatory. And you cannot stop the beneficiaries or the heirs from contesting the will. Mismanaging an estate has consequences. If an heir or beneficiary believes that you are not appropriately filling your legal obligations, they have the right to file a petition with the court and to get a full accounting of the estate's assets, or, in worst case, have you removed as the executor. Of course, most individuals who serve as executors take their responsibilities very, very seriously, and they handle the estate with the utmost of care. One of the biggest drawbacks to being an executor is the great amount of time it takes to properly handle all the responsibilities. For example, think of all the time involved in just contacting various government agencies, alone Social Security to stop any Social Security payments, and then contacting the IRS or the state tax authorities for income tax and death tax matters, and then handling any personal property, and then you have the selling of the home. So a good probate attorney may help with some of the responsibilities with taxes and Social Security benefits and dealing with the courts. And a good real estate agent can help simplify the process of preparing and then marketing and successfully selling the decedent's home. If you found this of value, subscribe to my channel to be notified of my weekly videos. You won't want to miss any of them. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.